that's the whole point. That that we're going in circles, and especially with I'm not going to get political and talk about today's administration, but at the time when you were really strong, I mean, you saw everything happen. You saw the whole civil rights movement, and especially being a member of the clergy. What happened? Because during the 60s, pastors, it seemed to be that they were unified. No matter where you heard them speaking, everybody was strong. They knew what they were talking about, and they were unafraid. Mm-hmm. Today, it is not like that.
Ministers now are political.
Yeah, you know why it's not? If they didn't bring a message, or if they tried to bring integration or anything of that nature, if you were a minister, I think they meddled with your whatever monies you got.
But I thought that your parishioners, the people who come to your church, that money was paying you, and therefore you were independent. You were immune from what they could do to you downtown. I mean, it seems.
No,
but they're getting ready to change that law, weren't they?
Well, now,
right, he's trying to change that.
It's going to be lucrative for somebody there. But I'm trying to get to a point because I'm just seeing that the pastors in the 60s are much different from the ones of today. Those in the 60s were real leaders, and they weren't afraid to take a stand and speak firmly. But now I'm being told by pastors that they can't speak out because they may offend white pastors.
Mm-hmm. And they may offend white folks. And the race, in all reality, I think when, if you want to get into the political end of it, when Trump came in all reality, he really opened the door for the racists to show their face. Before, they didn't show it because of repercussions that may take place. You know, they might not patronize you.
The white ministries.
They might not patronize you. So the white ministers now aren't going to speak that because the parishioners that they've got, that pays their monthly or their weekly check, however they get paid. And if they start talking about integration and things of this nature, they're going to back off that.
But Mr. Hackley, the whole scene changed from 1960. It wasn't just ministers. I know that's the category you're talking about, but the whole civil rights movement fell off after the 70s. That you didn't have hardly any more black leaders, church or no church. Everybody was all about me, I. So we've lost leadership. We've lost the togetherness. So
therefore, by Donald Trump coming in office, that could be a good thing because it's forcing you to
band together.
To band together.
It could be.
It could. Now, see, I will be going to a conference this coming week, the 22nd. I'll be coming to, and our bishop will talk to us about Trump and how we did receive a letter. I have received a letter as to what, and we will discuss this in our conference as to how we're going to accept or how we're going to handle this wired regime.
So many people right now that just, with him being in office, they're starting to tighten up on the purse strings because they don't know what the economy is going to be like. They're getting ready to cut off. I mean, he's not just cutting off money from Medicaid and social services. He's cutting off the basic things which we thought was keeping America great, which is cutting off from 100 million. It's getting off of it a little bit, but from the EPA, cutting off from 100 million that they used to give the Great Lakes down to 10 million. So he's cutting off everything and putting everything into the defense fund. So I'm on social media all the time on Facebook. There's so much hate on Facebook, it's ridiculous. You've got the folks that are for Donald Trump, and for everything that he's standing
Yeah.
for. And then some of us, we are actually, there's a lot of fear out there.
Yes, because
And like you
he
said,
has
it
brought
may
out
bring us to,
the racists.
bring us together. But blacks have,
We-
blacks need to
Come through that before, so, you know, we can.
That's the point again. Is there a scripture that puts this time period into perspective? Because you obviously feel that blacks are going to come out of this thing okay.
Well, I look at it like this. I know who rules the world, and that's God. And he says that vengeance are his. He says, you be still and know that I am God. And if you be still and know, I don't have to do too much. Oh, I just answer, okay, I sent him in before me. Now, I'm serious here on this. People who would normally maybe turn aside from me, face me, and go with whatever. There's an awe there that God puts in, yes. He says venture, but we've got our people, the African American black man needs to get back to the basics of God. See, they put themselves
That's
in,
true. I agree
they
with that.
have put their belief in the white man because he was giving them jobs and things of this nature. We may be back into close to, what do you call, servitude, you know, waiting on somebody else. However, I feel that if we follow him and listen to him and live as he would have us to live, it's not going to take place. Because even the whites, who she's saying, they do fear. There are whites out there, just like there were back during the slave days, that helped the Afro-American, that helped that slave. And there's those out there now that know they can't get along without us. They need us there. Now, they might think they can, but in all reality,
You know, as we wind down here, I want to ask you this, you know, a few last questions here. Is part of your insights on reality within the confines of your dad in that growing up on a farm? And for that whole matter, I've noticed that this whole area is farm oriented. And there's a different mentality between a person that's a farmer and a one that's a laborer. And because here, you have the land, you have this, you have that, and you can survive because you know how to take nature and make it work for you versus looking for a job. To what extent has that, I mean, is there any accuracy in that observation?
well, when you have a farm, you always knew you had food. Where if you were a laborer and you were laid off and you didn't have any money to purchase food, where were you going to get it? That would have been the fear, I think, more than anything. Because you got to feed your family. Daddy fed us because we had the chickens, eggs, cows, pigs, you
because they
know.
know how to farm, they can survive. That's what you're asking.
That's right,
Yes.
and we had gardens, you know. But you find people who don't know how to work those things or don't do those things or have no place to do those
They're
things.
lazy too.
True. They're going to lose out. They're not going to have.
You know, as we conclude, I'd like for you each to take a moment and talk about the importance of knowing your family history and how real that is, because it does shape your life as you go on, especially the way you perceive things. But elaborate on that, please, each of you.
They start? Well, with myself, and I have 5 children, 10 grandchildren, and I think 12 or 13 great-grandchildren. But I instill in them, you got to work. You can't be lazy. And raising up, just like we were raised up, we all had to work. We all had responsibilities. We all
Still
had
do.
chores, and we still do. My children They had responsibilities, they had chores, they still do. Their children have responsibilities and had to work and still do. Now, here's what's frightening is my great-grandchildren, because their moms and dads have lucrative money. Those children, those great-grands don't have to work like. And I'm afraid that when they get up to a certain point, they're going to be looking back, where's the money coming from? And they're not going to know how. Although they do know that they have to go to school. They've all been to college, 90% of them. And so they know that they got to work, but that's the only thing I can say is my grands and great-grands, well, my grands I don't have to worry about because they're all grown. My great-grands. And when they come, they got to do this. They have responsibility. They got to have responsibility to grow. I think is that, I don't know if that's what you wanted.
No, I want you to just have your answers because it's your life and you have seen this and this is what you have experienced. And the whole idea here is to be able to inspire others through your example.
Yeah. You can't, nothing is given to you on a golden platter. You got to work for what you want or what you're going to get.
Well, we wanted to work. You know, I wanted to amount to anything. And anytime I wanted to go, put my foot down, I had something with it. I mean, nobody needed to take care of me because I was going to take care of myself. And I did. I went to Chicago and I went 4 years to college and came out and worked 40. I worked for 40 years of teaching. So I'm not afraid.
And then worked on the farm.
Oh, no, it's okay.
And please put these two in perspective to yourself.
Oh, well, my mother being my mentor and my grandparents helped raise me too, was saying that I believe each generation should get better and better, more successful than the next. But the only thing is, in growing with success, you need to also remember to bring, how do they say, bring up the back. I forgot.
Putting the past in perspective.
No, not necessarily, but don't leave behind nothing. Just, okay, but my grandparents were very instrumental in my life. I saw how they had it. I always thought having that big farm meant we were wealthy. But I didn't realize we weren't. We were okay, but we weren't. I thought living in Chicago, we were middle class because we ate steak, blah, blah, blah. And I had a second home on a farm. So I thought I was always special. But not really knowing that all that they went through as children to make that farm what it is. And that my mother saved her money, worked hard, and bought that farm from my grandfather, who would have sold it to the white man. He really wanted to sell it to the white man. But she was able to buy the family farm to keep him from doing that. The Singer family is what's the word, historic to me, means a lot to me. And I think we should always teach the next generation and the next generation about our family. That's why listening to them talking about how the great-great-aunt or the great-great-uncle did this and that, I hope that we can get it written down somewhere so we can keep passing that on and everyone can see the struggle. It's like these young kids, they take the N-word for granted when they call that to each other. They don't know or don't realize what the N-word meant to their great-great family members. Or they wouldn't be calling each other that, or the B word. So I think we need to try to pass on the meaning of sacrifice and fulfillment to the next generation.
Well, a moment ago when you said that you always thought you were special, that's evident through their example, because they instilled that in you, And I found that a lot of times you have to feel that you are special in order to be special. So I want to thank you ladies for sharing your story with us. And it was inspiring, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Hacker, is it?
Hackley.
Hacker.